to this computer. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say so far it's just Jamie, Pat, and myself. So we'll say Angela Walker resigned and Troy Morton. And I resigned.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute once we call it. So are the two of you okay with getting started and we'll see
Oh
if Randy
yeah,
joins
it's
us?
Yeah,
Okay.
hell
9:03.
yeah, let's
You
get
bet.
started.
Okay. So, yes, we have three out of the six of us earlier this week. We had, oh, he needs the link resent. Hold, please. I will send this to him again. What's today? This is, oh my gosh.
I thought we already approved the meeting minutes from November 17th. Have we not? I mean, my goodness, that's about 50 million years ago, it feels like.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, Randy should be joining us momentarily. Um, Earlier this week, we had several committee members submit emails of resignation. Angela Walker, as well as Sheriff Troy Morton, and Miss Wendy Dana is also going to be leaving us for a splendid opportunity elsewhere, and we will miss her terribly.
I know.
Um, so we have half of our committee still hanging in there. We're gonna probably need to have this as part of our discussion today to make some have some conversation around what recommendations we might make to the commissioners about moving forward. As per our policy, it is their right and responsibility to appoint new members to this committee. So um, I guess we could, um, I don't remember. I think we probably did approve the meeting minutes for November 17th, but in any case, if we didn't, does anybody have any objections to previous meeting minutes or corrections, or can we just move forward with what we had?
I say we move forward with what we have.
Okay,
Definitely.
perfect. Just wanted to
And
be
Randy
sure.
has joined us. If you say do we need to accept him?
Yes.
Yes, we do need to accept Randy. We are accepting of everyone.
Promote to panelist. Okay. Let's see if it works. And allow to talk. Okay,
Perfect.
panelist. We're halfway there.
He's there.
Perfect.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Okay, so it's 9:06.
Um, so we just reviewed that we've got some vacancies that on the committee that will need to be filled somehow, some way. So we'll talk about that as part of the agenda for today. But first off, would love to get a status update on award letters and contracts because I know I've been fielding some emails and phone calls about those
Yeah, me too.
month. Um,
So what we do need to do is, and I'm happy to help you with that as much as I can, is we need the letters to those that did not get awarded this first round, to let them know, which is absurd that it's already where we're at. Um, but then obviously the ones that are very important are the ones that did, and they should know that at this point. I mean, I emailed everybody, but um okay, so I brought it up a few times. If anybody watches the meetings, they know I've brought it up a few times at the meetings, to find out what's going on with the lawyers. because the day that the words were announced, I sent the that I got that template because I asked Mackenzie for the contract template. So she sent me that, but it was really bare bones, very short. And I knew there was an awful lot missing from that we were going to need to have in there. So I gave it to our interim uh, administrator because needed to be the one to send it to our lawyers. And he, so he did that. I'm not sure when that happened, but it did eventually happen. And then the lawyer just wrote to me today, this morning, to say he's looking at it today, which to me says he probably hasn't looked at it before. Um, but there it is. So he's looking at it today. Um, and hopefully it's not going to take long. I just need to have, our bases covered for things that might pop up. Like it's usually like the whole whistleblower thing and this and that, the things that you have to put into a contract. Um, just like the jargon. So I just want to make sure that everything is in there. And then my part is going to be very easy because I know uh what the usage is for those funds because we've discussed that. So I write that in as to what they're allowed to use it on, and then the amount, and then I send everything through DocuSign. And I'm sure I will get things back quickly because everybody would love to have, their checks. Now, I know the commissioners have said that they wanted people to come in to accept the checks like we had with ARPA at the beginning. Um, so that's another one of those things where, you know, we would have to arrange them to come in on one of the commissioners' meetings to do
Could
that.
we perhaps negotiate that a little bit with the commissioners of we can send them the checks and then invite them to attend to do like a presentation of like here are your awards. We are so excited to be able to hand this money into the spaces that can really put it to good use, et cetera. But they don't have to wait to attend a county commissioner meeting because
I
they're
think
really
that's a
challenging to
Yeah, I
attend
would say
for
I
people
think
who
that's a
work.
great idea. I would definitely prefer to do that.
So
I mean, we
Absolutely.
can prepare a statement for them stating how much money this was, the list of the agencies that are there, invite the agencies to come get, a photo
recognition,
so they can
Right.
post on their website.
Yes.
I think that, and I know that the county, in respect to the commissioners, I know that they're busy with getting the budget and getting everything else done. And so to get this, on the agenda. So I say we agree with everybody else. I think we move those contracts forwards, get those checks out, but we invite them to
Yes.
a meeting to acknowledge the work that's going to be done.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I would love to see that. Yeah, just to make people wait
because
even longer is horrible. I cannot I cannot see doing that.
well, also because I know many of these organizations have already started doing the work. So
Yes.
they need to, because they were told that this money
Yeah.
would be forthcoming. So let's hold up our end of the bargain and make sure that that
I
money gets to
just
them as
got
soon
off
as
the phone
possible.
with one of the folks that was awarded to and let them know that I am post dating or excuse me, predating those contracts for the day that they were awarded so that any receipts that come in and invoices that come after that date will be acknowledged that the grant had already been established before they, after
Right.
they started or before they started spending money.
Right. Perfect. And that will also help too because we are technically not upholding our end of the bargain when we promised them that they would have the money, so they would have 12 months to do the work that they needed to do with the money. And for
Right.
those organizations who did a fantastic job with the timeline, if they aren't truly able to start the work until they have money in hand, we are not upholding our end of the bargain. So we would have to extend their dates anyways because we
Yep.
promised 12 months.
Right.
So I think the sooner the better, and being firm about that with the county commissioners and understanding how this works,
Yes.
um, we need to do what's right.
I also can't see why it would be a problem. You know what I mean? Like you're still getting your photo op. Let's get the money into their hands, and then we can do that later, which would probably, you guys, to be honest, it'll probably be even after I go. So I would love, I would love to be a part of that if possible, and be there, for that meeting. I think we have this upcoming, because we always like what they used to do is the first and third Wednesdays, and now they're still gonna do that, but I think they changed it to the third, like February 3rd, and normally it would have been the 18th, but a couple couldn't make it.
Yeah, it'll be February 4th according to their website, and then the
Oh,
25th.
okay. February 4th and the 25th. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I would love to see these to get out to, at least, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's enough time for people to come in or what.
Yeah. Again, let's just get the money out to
Yeah,
them for those
exactly.
signed contracts and we'll worry about the photo op later.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So there's that piece of that. Can you kind of give me an update? Give us an update on where we're at with the rejection letter status, like what needs to be done still.
Everything. When I
Okay.
emailed you about the actual letter itself, I
Yeah.
I don't even have, like, I don't have a template. So I know you were dealing with Mackenzie as far as getting, different information. So yeah, the last I know is our email that I said I would be happy to help you. So that's where it is right now.
Okay. So the information that you would still need are, well, we would have to send it snail mail because we oopsied and didn't collect email addresses on the form.
Right.
I don't know how that slipped by all of us and Mackenzie too, who
It is
created the
weird.
form, but
Well,
we'll have
some
to send those
people we
snail mail, but
do have their emails because of working with them in the past,
sure.
but
Probably just a standard way of everybody's getting the same method, like through the same method.
do we have
Um,
phone numbers?
we do.
Yeah, we can just call them for their emails.
Yep. Okay. So, and then so what we also kind of still needed to figure out, I think, too, was yes, getting each of the rejection letters ready to go for each of the organizations, but also to decide on if we thought it would be more helpful for the organizations because we had decided that we did want to give some feedback to
Yeah.
them. In thinking about our process for scoring, I'm not sure that giving each organization kind of like the raw comments feedback in each of the categories that we scored in is going to be super helpful to them. Versus maybe coming up with a brief summary, or probably better yet, just inviting them if they have questions or they want feedback to contact the committee to get some better idea about like, you know, how they ended up where they ended up and how they could do better in the future.
Yeah, I think that's important that they have that.
Yeah. So I think maybe for ease of our process and getting those out sooner rather than later and not having to spend an inordinate amount of time trying to create summaries and that kind of thing for each of applications which didn't receive an award, maybe we do just put in there if you'd like to have more information about the process or any feedback to contact us. And I mean, with half of us gone and that kind of thing, I guess if we could put kind of a deadline on it that I'm happy to field emails and phone calls probably until maybe like March 1st. uh, because after that, I feel like it becomes a moot point. Um, And we don't really know yet what our next phase of the process will be, but perhaps just having general feedback around how their application could be strengthened, not just for any future opioid settlement funds, but just applying for grants in general. Um, so there's that.
Okie doke.
No, I think you're smart to have a deadline. I think that anyone who really wants feedback is going to contact you immediately. So
Right.
putting a
Yeah.
deadline on it just, for me, it just, again, if you want feedback, we're willing to give it to you. And Jamie, I think, I'm willing to help, but I'm concerned that the message needs to be consistent
Yeah.
um, uh, from the committee. So just let me know what I can do to help. But again, the message needs to be consistent.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, maybe we just put my email address on there just so that it's easier and I don't have to field lots of phone calls from phone numbers I don't know, which I generally don't answer anyways. So um, yeah, we'll put my email address on there. And if people want to reach out and get feedback, then I'm happy to do it that way. Okay. Okay. So we do have next steps on those rejection letters. Um, Number 4 on our agenda is update on funds received and spent to date. And this has kind of been a lingering thing on our agenda, but it is kind of really pertinent at this point in time because did the reporting date pass or is it upcoming to the state?
Oh, I did that report.
Okay.
And okay, hold on. Let me get out of here. Ah! Oh, well, that's not helpful. Okay,
That
hold on.
report, I believe, was due December 31st.
Was it? I thought it was due in January, but maybe I was mistaken.
Let me look because I have the numbers. Oh my gosh, I have too many things open. Okay. I sent that in. They were really great to work with too. Hold on. Let's see if I can move that out of my
Good.
way. Okay, so if I go into okay, so it had to be in by the 15th of January. So we had a little more time, which was good. I'm just gonna rush over to the amount because it was definitely higher than I thought.
Received or spent or
Spent,
both?
spent. I wish it was more received.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was for the MAT program for last year, was it? Or the 2 years that we had it? Because I know it was like the 23, it was like 2 years that we had it, but weren't spending it. I wasn't in charge of it or anything like that, but it was $181,099.98. That was from 2023. Oh, that was the full amount until the end of 2025. So, and the
You
total
said
amount,
1,800, nope, just kidding. $181,099.99.
98 cents.
98 cents.
Yeah. And then the total amount unspent was 1,483,527 and 44 cents.
Does that include the 400,000 that we spent out on the RFPs or no?
That is correct because that was unspent. So we would have 1.83 after we pay out the 400.
Okay.
483. Let me write that down. 527.44. Okay, and then spent. Okay, 181.
So there's there's 181 left in there. How much
No,
in
no, that was what was spent
that was what was spent?
to date.
I thought you said that was unspent.
Nope, the unspent is 1.4 million.
And that includes, and then we have to take out of that the 400.
400,000.
And then of that, so there's approximately a million. How much of that million has been dedicated to the 2026 budget?
I don't know. I don't know that how they've discussed that. I didn't listen to the budget talks.
Hang on, we're missing some money though, because didn't like 200,000 of it get spent on MAT prior to that? And then also we're missing the money that went to, was it Breaking the Cycle before or Save a Life? One of those, I think, got something like $20,000, and also didn't money get
It
spent out of it
it
to go to
includes
the
that because
bond?
I got this figure from the finance director.
So that's included in the MAT amount?
Yeah, it's the entire amount that we spent on projects. Let me go down further. See if there's anything else on here. Because we did spend 20 on, was it Breaking the Cycle?
We
Oh,
we
wait,
had, I think we had two monies. One came from, I thought it came from the ARPA funds.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, for the sprinkler system. And
we
then I
did,
think,
but it was Breaking the Cycle for their capital improvements because they needed two different things. Remember, they didn't have enough money, so and we had already come to the they'd already reached their
but
like
yeah,
amount that they were allowed to have. So uh they gave some monies out of the other fund, out of this fund to use for that. Let's see. Let me go down all the way to the bottom here.
So
Hold on.
so we have on here, Laura, thank you, Laura, sent us in at the chat the amount of breaking the cycle. She said $24,486 went to breaking the cycle for sprinklers.
yeah.
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so the amount that we have left is correct. This first amount, I'm sorry, because I remember she made me change it to be I had to do two different because I was trying to give her the full amount. That's when she had me go back and change it to the 181. It is from 2023 to 2024. We spent, I'm going to write this, 23 to 24. We spent 200, I'm going to scribble that, 201,732.73 in total. 24,486 was to a recovery home for SUD, and 194, 196.73 went to the MAT program in our county jail. So the grand total for all projects was 201,732.73. Okay. So we still have there's still about $1 million in there after, after we already do
Correct.
the
And
amount
so
that we're
so
going to
we
use.
don't know if any of that has been allocated in the 26 budget.
Exactly. I don't know of what that amount in fact, they probably don't know. I don't think it's been discussed at all as to how they're doing that. Because I know that uh, Sheriff Morton was hoping that the state was going to provide more. Now, whether they do or not, who knows?
They don't record projected revenues in their budget.
I have no idea, Pat. I don't
Oh,
listen to the
okay.
budget. Yeah.
All right.
How much can we expect to come in this year from those funds?
From the opioid.
Yes.
So when we had sent all those spreadsheets out before, so Scott had given us like the breakdown of what we have. It's like between 200 and 225 a year.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
add that, so we'd add that projection to the million.
Yeah, and I don't know when they cut that kind of thing. Laura says 262, 137.
Yeah.
So that's the MAT budget estimate, or
No,
that,
that's the estimate that's coming in.
Yeah.
okay.
And that would, I guess, include the one that was just allowed, right?
I don't think that they've actually,
That settlement, if
yeah, the
there
one
was
that
a
happened
settlement.
late this summer, I don't
Yeah.
think that that is what is, I don't think that that has been finalized. Okay.
So so for 25, the estimate was 262, 137. And for 2026, it was 279, 245.
Yes.
And then Courtney asked the question, have the funds for HIV services been deducted yet? So they're going to deduct some money for HIV
Not that I
services.
know of. I don't know. I was
Okay.
court. Well, let's see. I need to go into the chat here. Okay, we got that. Unless that's something, unless you're talking about an application, I don't know anything about HIV services.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know anything about that for the county either. The city had, but that's, yeah, that's Bangor.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Oh,
Bangor.
no,
Yeah,
that's what she said.
no
That's
worries.
Bangor. Sorry.
I
Okay.
was
That's
gonna say,
okay.
I think she might
Okay.
be talking about Bangor.
Okay.
Um, okay,
Thank you,
so
Courtney, for the correction.
Let me write let me write down the estimates that we can just at least have them in our minutes for everybody. Okay, and then 2026, 245.
and that where she's getting that off of the AG website hasn't been updated since March of 24.
Oh,
So that definitely does not include anything that has been decided on in the past
yeah.
6 to 8 months.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I think what I was going off of as far as the amounts that Scott gave us is actually what we had received. Like
okay.
that was what gosh, the stupid thing. Hold on. That was the amounts that I guess that was more of a dependable figure because at least we knew what we had been receiving up to that point.
Hmm.
And let me go back into here. Let me see if I could even pull that up.
So
Because it,
according to the AG's website too, that kind of does check out as far as what we've spent money on and where we are at with what is still in the bank. Because according to the AG's website, which was updated end of October last year, we'd received $1,632,546.37 worth. So with the 181,000 plus the unspent, because we hadn't spent our $400,000 RFPs yet. That maths. So, um, I guess the question then kind of leads into the next part of our agenda. Um, other than the interest earned to date, and I know that that's something that I continually bring up because I feel like it needs to continually be talked about. The Maine Recovery Council, as part of their statute, must use all interest earned on the funds that they receive on allowable uses per Exhibit E. The municipalities and counties that receive funding are not held to the same standard. However, because we're not getting really, in the grand scheme of things, that much money, it feels like it's that much more imperative that that money that is earned on interest, since we still have $1.4 million sitting in the bank, any interest money really does get put back into the funds that are available to use to remediate the opioid crisis. I know that there have been considerations around using that for administrative costs and things, but
Well, I think if you look at it, Jamie, I mean, I absolutely agree. But if you look at it, they're already using opioid funds for things like the MAT program. So if they were going to use like interest income, we've been funding the MAT program as well. The county has. They could easily reimburse themselves for that. I mean, I can absolutely hear that in my brain right now. So not that that's what I think, but I can hear that as far as an argument. So that's going to be your fight. Thankfully, I don't have to get in there on that one. But
Well,
well, I think
I think for transparency on it, I think it would be nice to know how much is the interest and that it truly is going to the MAT program. Um, I don't know, and I'd have to research it. I know in part of the statute, for instance, the Maine Recovery Council can't spend more than 12% of the money or interest on admin expenses.
mhm.
It's very clear, but I don't know how clear it is with the county. But I think that for transparency, it would be nice to know how much is coming in every year, how much is approximate interest. If the county commissioners have the money that they want to spend that money on, it would be nice to know what that is, and that how much money would be available for the grant process as this continues for the next 18 years. Um, Again, that's the confusing part when it's not open as to exactly how much it is or where it's going. It gets very confusing, at least to me, and I'm old. I have cobwebs.
well,
Okay, so I've written all of that down. Absolutely. I mean, that's going to be the question too, is do you guys have somebody that's going to be able to go in and talk to the commissioners about these things, or you'll have to wait until they hire another grant manager if they do hire another grant manager? Um, because I have been paid out of ARPA funds, and ARPA funds are no longer available for that position. So that's a budgeted position, and it's, ugh, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to hire someone right away. I honestly don't. You know how bad the position is with them right now. So I have no idea. That's gonna be something you guys are gonna want to talk about as to, is somebody gonna go to the meetings and do this?
Well, the
right.
other thing, the other thing you have to think about is, are these funds sitting in a separate account, or are they all thrown into the Penobscot budget or the state budget? And that way, we'll never know how much interest is made unless the funds are sitting in a separate account, which I think they should be. They may be sitting in $24 million, trust account somewhere in the state of Maine, and trying to pull that 1.4 million out is really going to be sticky. So unless they're sitting in a separate account, you're going to have a paper trail as long as your arm. I mean, it's not going to be easy. We have to find out where the funds are, what they're deposited under, and it's going to be an auditor's nightmare.
Our auditors are they're living their nightmare right now. We are going through our audit.
Because one hasn't been done since 2021.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it was probably even beyond that. I think the last one was 2020. We got 21, 22, 23. I think we're on 23 or 24. So it is yeah, it's ugh. So
according to Laura, she said yesterday they said that it was a separate account,
here's
which
the
makes
info.
sense because this money has to be accounted for and reported
Right.
on a regular basis. So
So
yesterday
I
it was
know that the
stated that this
money
is a
was
separate account.
moved. I know the money was moved to a different account. I don't know how much or all because the money is restricted, right? It is a restricted grant or settlement basically. So that money cannot be used on other things. So it is restricted funding. Um, and I know that so I was able to get the information so that I could report because it was in a different line item or account or whatnot. So that information is not as hard as it would seem, Randy. Thank goodness. Wait, did we lose
I think
Randy?
we lost him.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, they're very much aware that these funds are restricted funds.
He's back in the attendees if you can pull
Yeah.
him back into our panelists. Um, okay. So those are all things that we'll have to continue thinking about, talking about, as well as the point taken of who's showing up to commissioner meetings, how, when, where, etc. Looking at the policy that we had put to the commissioners and they approved, to my knowledge, they've approved, that membership for this committee must have one county government representative
Mm,
on the committee. So I guess it's up to the commissioners to select the whomever from the county staff to be the liaison purely for logistical and legal purposes. We are an advisory committee. We can't set up these Zoom meetings or what have you. I mean, I can send emails to people, but they have no responsibility to email me back. As far as staff goes, but we also need a law enforcement representative. So if it's not the sheriff, who is it? Um, Somebody with procurement process experience and two people with lived experience with opioid use disorder. So um, at the next meeting, which is on the 4th, and I don't know if today would be able to get onto that agenda for the 4th because it's Thursday. Today's Thursday morning. But
mm.
would it be possible to, because the commissioners know of at least one of the well, two, yours included, two of the resignations, but they need to fill the other
Okay.
positions.
So
Um,
we do need a total of three added.
at
And
least
I
three
have one
because
from the county, one from law enforcement, and another from lived experience.
and
Another
somebody with
with lived experience.
yes,
Okay.
and somebody with procurement process it's experience.
Was
So
that
somebody
the
that has
was that the
that
county
was
one?
you.
Was that the county one you were saying? Like that was the first one we needed someone from the county?
No, it's listed as two different things because the county government representative might not be necessarily the grant manager, like we had Scott before
Yes,
you
right.
joined.
Okay. Okay. And then procurement.
Yes, somebody that, and
Okay.
the people with lived experience might fill, they might fill one or
Could
more
be
of
a
these roles.
crossover.
Yeah.
Okay. To
And I think,
council.
if I'm not mistaken, the policy was up to 7.
Yes.
Okay.
But we definitely need more than 3.
I
Yeah,
know. I'm
it's ideal to
sorry.
have an odd number anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really 4 people would be ideal.
Okay. I'll say 3 to 4. 4 is ideal
Yeah.
because that is true. It's better to have an odd number. Okay. Okay.
Um, okay. So for the purposes of needing to have this conversation with the commissioners, um, I believe let me double check my calendar here. I believe I'm available on the 4th to attend that meeting at 10,
The
which
meeting's at
really
10.
it is.
Yeah, they usually have it at 10. Oops. What am I looking at here? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So I can attend that. Happy to have any other members attend with me should they be available and want to.
You know
Uh,
what? I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put Wendy. I'm going to email Marianne to get us added on the agenda.
great.
Okay? Okay, to
Yep.
add Jamie plus Wendy for opioid discussion February 4th. Okay. Got
And
it.
I will try to attend.
Okay, that would be great.
Thank you. Um,
Even if you do it through Zoom, because we have Zoom.
yeah.
Okay,
Um,
got it.
yeah. Okay. So, then next steps for our committee, we've got about 15 minutes left of our meeting. Knowing that we need to alert the commissioners to the vacancies and ask them to fill the vacancies. Um, I wanted to open a conversation even amongst us as we are now, what any next iteration of the work that we might do would look like. I know that there had been conversation about perhaps partnering with like Bangor in order to make a bigger impact on an initiative. Bangor's not through their first iteration process yet. I believe they're meeting next week as well. Um, to make some decisions on awards, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to continue to get funding that needs to be allocated and that kind of thing. So there was that thought. There was also some thought maybe around if we have some more directed RFP invitations to really look at what are the gaps in the community that are the most pronounced and put out a more specific RFP for a type of program or a some version of remediation of the crisis. Uh, so it, just throwing out examples. Do we have enough detox beds? Do we do an RFP for detox beds for a specific amount, whether that's $200,000 or whatever it is? Do we have enough treatment options for post-detox long-term treatment beds? Do we have enough support for youth as affected others or at risk? Do we have like put out some very directed RFPs? So I would love to open up this conversation about what it is that we think we might want to suggest to the commissioners as a next iteration of our work.
Okay. Got it.
So for me, um, the thing is, asking the commissioners at this point for the committee to continue. I don't even know if that's intent for them to do that, for the committee to continue. And if they continued, I think I would go with Jamie and look at, first of all, increasing the membership of the committee, goals for the committee, such as doing some research as to what are the gaps in the holes in our system that are, preventing people from either entering treatment or recovery. What are those gaps? And again, then considering a more targeted RFP, I think makes sense. But that targeted RFP should really be based on data that we do some research with. And again, there's certain people like the Moss Center and other areas that have done some data research on our area to see what is needed in Penobscot County. Again, part of that plan could be getting together with the Bangor committee as to how we can better coordinate that. And also, the bottom line is the commissioners have to tell us if we have a budget and what that budget looks like. Because knowing what that budget is will really sort of maybe define as to what we can do for outreach grants. If it's as much as it was last time, which was great, that's a significant amount of money to be able to put that out for RFP. But again, we really need to know what that is and what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the direction I would like to see. Even I know that the commissioners are busy. If they ask the people that are left back on the committee if they would have names they'd like to put forward for the commissioners to approve of, I could see us doing that kind of work also.
I don't want to jump before Randy has a moment to speak if he had thoughts about any of this. Um, I am wondering too that I don't want to say strategy, but strategy around if we do have the conversation about we've done some research around the gaps and we kind of identify specifically we would like to put out an RFP for X amount to do X thing, that it might be a little bit more it might be easier for them to kind of have that concept of, okay, we know that this is being directed in this specific way, not we're going to just pick a
Right.
random number to do as many RFPs as possible, kind of like we did the first time, which wasn't a horrible idea. Um, Again, I think that our responsibility as this committee is to really look at and recommend and advise the commissioners on what would make the most impact with this funding. So we'll be able to kind of do that research and craft the next RFP if we decide to go in a very targeted way for a type of RFP request, and then assess as we get information in from all of the current awardees how that is helping.
Okay.
Randy, did you have any thoughts about any of that?
Um, I don't know if I'm on mute, am I? No.
Nope, we can hear you. Oh, just
So,
there you go.
so, so one thing is, we just had that template that we made out for the grants. Um, and we're 2 years behind in getting that money out. And I think, we did a pretty good job with what we had. I don't think it's fair for us to change the way that we've done it the second year. Uh, I realize that there should be some focus on different things, but for those people that didn't get it in the first round, they may want to reapply with that same format. So I think we're charged with how much money is available this year, and then send that same application out. I don't think changing horses in the middle of the streams is appropriate right now. I can see it down the road, some focused things. But again, that's going to take a lot of research and monies. Uh, so I just don't think it's fair to change the horses in the middle of the stream. That's what I'm thinking. But and on the other hand, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I think some of those things that you say are fine. Maybe we should do it in a different way. But I think to be fair to the people who are waiting in the line for some of these monies, to find out how much money we have and do the same again, and then I don't know. We have time to change that, but I think changing it now is the wrong direction. That's all.
Just a thought as you were talking, and I don't think that you're wrong at all. I think
Yeah.
that, I'm glad that we're having this conversation of kind of looking at all angles of it. Would it make sense as part of our upcoming work to look at the kinds of things that people were requesting funding for? And maybe that would kind of narrow the focus a little bit instead of putting it out to all of Exhibit E, just because we kind of know between our application process and Bangor's application process, we know who's going to be applying and we know generally what they're going to be wanting funding for. And instead of just doing the broad, again, looking at, okay, we see that people are scrambling for funding for this type of need and maybe narrowing it just a little bit to speak a little bit more so that we get a little bit more comprehensive information rather than a broad amount of information about a lot of different things that maybe don't align so much with what the data is showing. I know that like the main drug data dashboard online gives pretty detailed information about drug overdoses and deaths and that kind of thing. So trying to align what we've already received for application requests and looking kind of correlating between those two things that we could kind of focus in on to get some really good, rich applications instead of kind of like just kind of scratching the surface. Does that make sense?
Y- yes, as long as we're fulfilling the four pillars,
Yep.
it makes sense, and we can, premise our applications with, a few paragraphs like that.
Yep. And we definitely can look at massaging that a little bit. I know that just feedback during our application process and things that we talked about, our application is going to have some changes to it anyways, just to make it a little bit clearer for applicants and for us as we score future applications that it really does, it makes sense. It aligns with what we're using for a rubric and where there isn't a mystery around how things shake out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, so Randy, I like what you said and what Jamie's saying, and I think really examining as to what we didn't have an opportunity to fund and how that fell into pillars makes sense. And that way we're honoring the fact that people who applied who didn't get the money will have an opportunity to do it again, but we're also looking at that. I'm reading Courtney's in the chat here. She said Aroostook County awarded 200,000 out of the three because they realized that prevention, specifically prevention, wasn't really addressed with any of the grantees, so kept 1,000 out to have an application for that. It looks like for that prevention for the remaining 1,000 because they hadn't got any applications in that pillar. So we may want to look at how that much. I mean, we've looked at it before briefly, but let's look again how that fell out with the applications we got and what got funded and what didn't, and sort of build the next round from there. And I think we can do both of the best suggestions here. One is Randy's being honoring what we've already done, and also looking at needs of Penobscot County.
Yep. Thanks, Pat.
okay. So knowing that we just have a few minutes left, are there any unanswered questions that we haven't addressed yet that we want to ask the commissioners when we meet with them next week about what our next work might look like.
Yeah, I'd like to ask them how much money will be available to distribute and get the applications out as soon as we can. It almost took us a year to get where we are. So I think if we can get those applications out early, uh, you know, next couple of months to fulfill the next year because we're drifting behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I
most
also,
agencies, most nonprofit, and I hate to do it because it pushes us, most nonprofits have a fiscal year of July, starting July 1, because
Yeah.
that's when a lot of the state contracts are due, which means they're developing their budgets in April and trying
That's
to figure
actually
out
what
what revenue to
they're
expect.
talking about changing to that. They've been wanting to do that. And that was a recommendation that Scott's been trying to get them to do is
Yeah.
change their fiscal year. So I know that they are definitely talking about trying to get everything in sync so that we can move to that.
Yeah.
Because absolutely.
Yeah,
I also want
I
to,
know the federal grants often go on calendar year, but most of the state awarded grants go on fiscal.
Yeah.
and I also want to be cognizant of the request of the commissioners to fill the vacant seats on this committee so that
Oh, yes. Let me
the
write that down as
entirety of the
question
committee is
3.
in alignment.
Yeah, we got to have more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to put that too. So vacancies need to be filled. Okay, so that's 3 questions specifically.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you want to ask again about the interest? I know we haven't really had an answer for that, and all you could do is just keep asking, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to not let that kind of fall away. I think it
Right.
is important to continue to be kind of front of mind.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, it is just now 10 o'clock. Does anybody have any other unfinished business questions, comments, concerns that they want to address before we depart? Other than we need to set our date and time of our next meeting.
Can you really do that yet until you talk to the commissioners, or do you want to do it and then hopefully
I
have an
mean,
answer?
We've got enough
personally,
work to do.
yeah, and
I know.
we, as a committee, um, yeah, I think it's better if we don't leave here without setting a date and time, and we can always change it later.
Okay.
But to have something on the calendar so that there is something set up that we can move if needed. Since we're going to be talking to the commissioners on the 4th, uh, do Tuesday or Thursday mornings work okay for you, Pat and Randy?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first Tuesday of every month, I have a 9 o'clock,
Okay.
a regular standing the first Tuesday of every month. Um,
Do we want to meet, I don't know, the 12th or the 19th then of February, which is those are Thursdays at 9 o'clock.
Well, the
Um,
first Tuesday for Pat is the 3rd, so
Right,
we
but we
wouldn't
won't have
meet
met
that
with the
anyway.
commissioners yet. That's next Tuesday.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Durr. Sorry.
I mean, I enjoy spending time with you all, but
No. What I'm saying is she couldn't make the 3rd,
No.
but
right.
she could make the 10th if you guys
Yes.
wanted to do that Tuesday.
Yep, we could do that.
I can do that.
Because that could be my last one too, if if we could get it in before I leave on the 13th.
I could do the 10th. Yeah.
Yeah, we could
Yep.
do the 10th. Do you guys want to do it at 10 a.m.?
9 a.m. would be better for me,
Oh, I'm
just because
sorry. I'm sorry. I meant 9 a.m.
it's okay.
I'm so used to the county's 10. Yeah, 9 a.m. Okay, so February 10th at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Got it. And then we should be able to discuss what, if anything, we were able to
Yep.
glean from the commissioners meeting. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Works.
Sounds
Great.
great.
Productive. Moving forward.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you all
Thank
very
you.
much for all this, and we'll see you on the 10th at 9.
Have a good
if
day.
I
And
don't see
Laura
you
and
before.
Courtney, thanks for the advice. Thanks for
Yeah,
the
Bye.
information.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.